Governor Okpebholo of Edo on Tuesday declared a state of emergency in public schools across the state, stressing that the schools were in a bad state. Okpebholo, accompanied by government officials, toured schools in Ikpoba, Okoha, and Ekpo local government areas of the state and lamented the worrisome conditions of urban schools. The governor expressed his displeasure with the state of the schools visited, emphasizing that Edo children deserved a better learning environment to bring out their best potential. He noted that during his campaign, he had promised to declare a state of emergency in schools lacking modern facilities and a conducive learning environment across the state. Okpebholo, during his visit to Army Day Secondary School in Ekpoba, Okaha, and Ewareke Secondary School in Ego, expressed his dissatisfaction with the conditions under which the students were learning. Edo Commissioner for Education Padi Iyamu said the governor's visit was to see the students' plight firsthand to ensure every child in Edo had access to quality structure and teachers at school. Earlier, the Vice Principal of Student Affairs at Ebareke Secondary School, Mrs. Mary Ezewingi, told the governor that the situation had remained unchanged since 2022 despite several complaints. According to her, we cried out for help, but nobody listened. Learning has been difficult for our students. We even tried to make repairs, but the rains ruined our efforts. Mr. Okechukwu, I don't know if I would say that this is a good move, considering that Abia State's Governor Alex Oti just did a tour in APSU. Are we trying to say, because we know Governor Monday Okpebholo, got into office last month, November 12th, if I'm not mistaken. This is about a few months in office. I'm sure this issue of dilapidated schools has actually gotten to his attention. Do you think there's something, a call to the notice of the public, or this is actually a move like he has stated? Like I said, considering the fact that Alex Oti did a tour a few days ago in Abia State University.
Well, for me, I strongly believe that the primary school, or if not just primary, secondary school and primary school at the public level, they have suffered high-level neglect by government, not just the government of Edo State, but government around Nigeria. And it's not something we should be happy. It's not something we should smile about. So whatever the governor wants to do, he should even do it without the glare of the public. He should let his work speak for himself and not this visit. For me, these are just mere lip service rhetorics. One thing is to visit, another thing is to take a decision, and it's also to swing into action. This is just the first step. Let's see how it goes. For me, whatever he needs to do, you need to do it on time, because the children who attend these public schools, they are at risk. If you look at, it's not just alien to Edo State alone. Around the country, if you take a cursory look of all the public schools, both primary, secondary, you discover that where these children are learning, it's even could be likened to a poultry.
Okay, I actually wanted to ask, like I stated, Alex Oti did a tour in APSU at the time, a few days ago, before Governor Monday Okpebholo decided to do this yesterday. Like you stated, it should not be a lip service and something that should be put out there in the public. Considering the state of the country, economic-wise and otherwise, do you think that the governors that have decided to make those tours will keep to their promises about fixing most of the schools? Unless, like you stated, it is not just in Edo State that this is also affected. Every state, let's talk about the states that the governors that have decided to come up and make the school tour in their states. Let's talk about Edo State, the communities. There are rural areas, there are urban areas, and rural areas are also affected, whereas most of the schools are dilapidated in a very low conditions. And I'm sure most of the school board have actually written to the government several times, and nothing has been done in that instance. Do you think these governors will want to do something after those whole school tour they have done here?
It's left for them. But if I were them, the best way to even score political points at this period is when you go back to the basics. And what's the basics? The primary school, especially those at the rural level. But there's something else we need to take into cognizance. There must be this community participation, because I've seen situations where schools at the rural areas, after work, they are being vandalized. So the community must also participate in terms of security of those things, because one thing is for government to rehabilitate. It's another thing for those things to be put in use and also protected
by the owners.
So there must be that community participation at that level. But first, government also, they need to swing into action, not just paying necessary lip service. It's something that once you declare a state of emergency on this area, they say a man puts his money where his heart is. So once the heart is there that this is what must be done, leave all this bureaucratic framework. There are already things that needs to be done. You swing into action. Because one thing is to pay a visit, another thing is to bring bill of quantity. Before you know, time is not of a great essence, and time is not our friend. So it's something we must work, have a timeline. For me, one of the basic problems we have in government, they have brilliant and lofty ideas. They have wonderful deliverables, but the problem is the timeline. It's something that they must take into cognizance. It's something that they must pay premium attention on. Timeline for every project.
Okay, let's go back to, I don't know why I'm still talking about that. This is one or two incidents that happened recently with the school situations in the country, or from Alex Otito and Monday Okpebholo of Edo State. There has been criticism over the Alex Otito to those schools that he was aware about the whole incident before now, that this is more like a political step, you know, in order to just like Ningi has done, sharing cash to people that his constituents in that he decided to share cash to. Do you think these are political moves from the critics that have actually come up to say things concerning that space?
Yeah, if you look at it, there are some political undertones. When I say there are political undertones, they want people to see that they are working. But like I always tell people, let your work talk for you, and don't just talk. Because most of these are mere rhetorics. You go with the glare of the public, your media, you put it on air. But the problem is as at when you visit and when you swing into action. What's that time difference? Whatever you want to do it early so that you have time to do other things. Like I said, governance, it's not just about media razzmatazz. It's not about from the media perspective. It's something that let your work speak for you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. You're actually not so much of a big talk person, but I want to get thoughts from you on this incident. Yeah. Let's also go back, because I'm literally trying to get a background check on this. Soludo made a prize. How do I put it? He gave a prize of 500,000 to the best NECO students. There was also a criticism over that he should have, given scholarship instead of giving that amount. Let's now take it broadly on the education sector in the country. Do you think the necessary things that should be done in the education sector has been catered for? Let's not talk about healthcare and otherwise in the country. The education sector as it stands in the country, what is your thought on it, please?
First, the facilities for our education, they are all gone bad. There are things that you cannot even write home about. Most of our public schools, either at the primary or secondary school level, they are nothing to write home about. Another area also they need to take special look, the trainers. What I mean training, the teachers. Okay. Very, very important. Most of them, they lack incentives. They've not been promoted in a very long while. They've not even gone for refresher courses. And if you look, education is something that is not static. There's a serious evolution in education, learning aids, learning terminologies, learning techniques. They change over time. And most of these teachers, so to say, they are static in their level of learning. So it's also important that while you're developing, upgrading facilities, you also need to take special care of those trainers. Because whether you like it or not, you cannot put a wonderful facility and a trainer who is half-baked, a trainer who is not up to speed. And if you do that, the children whom you are doing this investment for, they will come out as half-baked.
Thank you.